Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're starting off with some 164 cars, and this time actually I would like to do an assembly. So this is a Land Rover Defender 110 pickup, as you can see over there, made by BMC, and it's actually got a lot of little parts to it, and you can convert the whole truck to a tuned sort of variant. And I just picked this model up recently. I just received it, and I'm really in the mood to just put it together and check out what it's like. So I thought, let me take you along for the ride. And here is also a gray one, but today I'll only be doing the black one. I thought it's a pretty good time to do this car and assemble it because there are some new color variants coming out. So there are some camo colors, and if you would like to pick one up, then you can see what you would be in for. So let's open the box here. A little tricky with the gloves, but there you go, success. So straight away, the box is made up of multiple parts, and let's see how it comes apart. So we've got this first sort of layer, which just kind of has the shape of the car, and then wow, that is very, very awesome. Wow, that is super cool. Let me give you a little bit of a zoomed in view. Let's check out the details on this bad boy. Wow, that is so awesome. So there you go, we've got some front sections there with the headlights and the intake, and then I'm not really sure what those pieces are. I think it could be the side skirts. And let's just remove the car, and I'll put it aside for the moment because let's have a look at what else is in this box. So there is another layer, and this one houses some wheels. So there's quite a few of them with writing, and then there's one with no writing. And there's also a pack of screws and axles. And then, of course, the front and rear fenders. So that's all the stuff that you get in the package. You get the car, and you get the wheels and the front, as well as the axles. Wow, that is so cool. I'm just checking it out on this table. Look at the way this car looks. It's just an absolute beast. So this is, of course, in its sort of original format. Well, I mean, it's a 6x6 version, so not exactly original. But one of the reasons I actually wanted to get this car was because I used to work at a company that made a few 6x6s, and actually I drove this car in real life, and I must say it's an absolute beast. It had a Corvette LS engine and automatic gearbox, and this thing was spinning wheels while it was shifting gears. It was an absolute beast. It was just really, really, really ridiculous. So I thought, what a better thing to do than to actually get a model of it and to build that variant that I drove as well. So I thought, let's check out the car a little bit just before we put the accessories onto it, and have a look at it quickly in its unmodified state. So you can see it's pretty standard looking, apart from it being a 6-wheel drive. Essentially, these cars are based on the Defender 110, and of course they get an extra set of rear wheels, so it's a whole driven axle, and the entire chassis is extended, as well as the rear bed and the bodywork is extended too. And of course, this car also gets a crazy engine, so it comes with a 6.2 liter V8 from a Corvette, and it pushes out around about 430 horsepower. And as I said earlier, it's just an absolute beast. It is so strong. It's really, really crazy. Of course, it gets a few little things added on, bodywork and those sort of things. But the exhaust, if you have a look quickly, it's kind of a tiny exhaust, and it should actually be on the mudguard on the real car. So that's one of the little details that's not correct. And also the headlights on the real one are more of a smoke sort of color, and also with an LED instead of those old style lights. But let's check out the transformation. Let's jump right into it. As you can see, I've prepared the car. I've kind of laid it out. We have all our components, and I've also got some of these tweezers and a screwdriver. Not sure if I'll need it. And also like a Stanley style blade, and also just some blue tack, because the panels need to be joined on. And I wasn't sure how, but actually I think that this might be some double-sided tape in there. I wasn't sure what those things were, but I suspect that it might be that. So let's have a look. But until then, I've got some blue tack, so we can just kind of do that. So let's jump straight into it. Let's have a look at the car. So as you can see, we're going to have some front panels and some rear panels, which will get installed, as well as the wheels. And we have new axles for the wheels as well, so I suspect we'll just be able to twist these off. And this front section will come off in some way. I'm not really sure how yet, but I think probably with the blade I can kind of reach underneath it and get it out. I have built a BMC model before, and it was pretty tricky, to be honest, but let's see what the case is with this. And actually, looking at the quality of this, you can see the Land Rover logos even on the mud flaps, so that's really, really great quality. And of course, the rear section opens as well. Let me zoom out a little bit for you, although you might get some funny things with the zoom and the focusing. So let's get started. I think our main components are over here. So we've got these wide body rear arches, and then we also have these front wide body arches, and of course 6 wheels plus a spare, which look very nice. They've even got that little red trim on the edge like the real car should have, although the real one does not say BM Creations, but that's okay nonetheless. And then in this little piece here, we've got this front. So we've got this over there. That's the front mask of the car. And then, of course, we also have the front bumper with the integrated lights. And then actually I ended up figuring out that this over here is a snorkel. Although I'm not really sure how I will be putting that one on. But anyways, let's jump straight into it. And as you can see, these components are actually still on these sprues. So that's also why I've got this knife. Although, what I might do is, I might just cut these off camera, and I'll be back to you in a second. That shall make it easier. And welcome back. So as you can see, we've got our pieces separated, and it was relatively painless. Actually, I wanted to show you on this last one that you can just kind of jiggle it like this, and it will snap off with complete ease. So you don't even need a Stanley knife really to get these parts opened up, or removed, I should say, I suppose. So we've got the front panels, both sides, and the 2 rear panels, the front, and the snorkel, as well as the front bumper. So I think what I will do is I shall start removing the front section, because that's something we can change kind of easily, I hope. So you can see it's got these 2 little prongs that kind of go into the body, and sometimes it can be a bit tricky not to snap them off. So I just kind of use this tool, and you can see it gets like sort of bigger further up, so I just kind of get under there and I just kind of twist it out of the way. So you can see it's already releasing one side, which is good. And let's try and get the other side too. So there you go, that's pretty much off. There you go. Ooh, it's actually got a little bit of glue holding it in place, so that's not the stuff we shall be using. And then, there you go, this is what it looks like without the front bumper on. So there is a little bit of glue residue. And then we gotta get underneath this front piece as well. And I was thinking the best way to do it probably is just to get underneath with this thin blade and just kind of pop it out, because I don't want to break those little arms. They are very small. There you go. Well, that was another relatively simple maneuver. And there you go. That is the front, completely exposed. So I think let's go for it and pop this new bad boy on there. So it's got these two little pins, you can see over there, and they just kind of go into those holes. So I shall try to line them up, although these sections can get a bit tricky if the hole's a little bit smaller than that extruded piece on the plastic. So let's try and kind of pop it on there. That's almost on. Kind of, more or less, I suppose. Just squeeze it on there a little bit tighter. Yeah, there you go. I just heard a click. Wow, that is so cool. Oh my word, it's extremely looking like the car that I drove. That is very, very cool. And now we shall put this front bumper in. During that work I used to do, I drove a lot of Defenders, although mostly they were just the Defender 90 and the Defender 110, but there were a lot of custom builds actually, and it was really fun. But the 6x6 was just an extreme beast. So it's kind of tricky to click it in place. I got one of the sides in over there, although this other one doesn't want to go in very well. I don't really want to force it, so maybe I'll just leave it kind of hanging out a little bit. I'm not sure about that. Let me try to flip it upside down and try again. So these things vary also with the modeling. So sometimes some parts can be a little bit tricky to install. So it looks like this side is a little bit bigger because it doesn't really want to get in there, and I don't really want to force it, so I shall fix that later. But that's looking really, really good so far. Wow, that's so cool. Okay, and next let's tackle the wheels. So of course we have 6 wheels in total to remove, and we actually have some screws that were in the pack too, and I was wondering what they were for. But as you can see, there are some holes here. There's 1, 2, 3 holes. So I suspect that what they shall do is, well, they will fix that issue for one. As you can see, this whole piece has just kind of come out completely. So it gets pressed into this like drive shaft section over there, and this actually makes life a little bit easier as long as we know which kind of direction to put it. But the way to remove these wheels, I find, is always you hold one in place and then you kind of rotate the other with your hand, and then you can just see it kind of pops up like that. So the axles themselves have a little bit of a grippy sort of section, and then they just get pressed into the wheel. So I shall prepare, wow, okay. I shall prepare one wheel quick, if I can get this open. Let's get those axles out. So 3 axles, of course, which makes sense. And then what we do is we press it into the wheel over there. Even though it doesn't go in very much, that's kind of okay. Because now what we shall do is we take this assembly, we can push the axle through the assembly like that. And apologies if you can't really see because of my hands. It's a little bit tricky to do this in real life and through the camera. Wow, that one actually slipped on very, very easily. So I'll give it a little bit of rotation if I can. Although sometimes it just doesn't want to join on, but this one's a little bit tricky. Okay, well, shall we say it's on? I think I will fix this off camera a little bit. So now I have removed all the wheels, and as I just realized, this front section shouldn't actually be popping off, and those parts underneath that were supporting it had actually broken, so that's why it came loose, and the rears should not come out either. So that's okay, put a little dab of glue underneath there. But what I have done is I have made the other axles, and actually I also got some pliers, and it's quite a good idea to kind of do it like this. So you just hold the axles in place with quite a lot of strength, and then you can kind of twist the wheels on, and that way the wheels are completely attached onto the axles the way it should be. So now the next thing is just to put them all on the car. I have now glued this front axle back into place, and it's time to put the wheels on. So all you do is you put the wheel axle through the little hole, and it goes all the way through, and then you attach the opposite side wheel. So once again, well, I was about to say you rotate it, but this one actually just jumps straight on there, and then you do that with all of them. So all 6 wheels are in place now. Some of them were a little bit tighter to put on, and some were a little bit looser, but they are all on, and check that out. That is so awesome. I really like that. That is very, very cool. And of course, last but not least, we're gonna put these little screws in to these holes. So it seems pretty much straightforward. Just put the screw into the hole, and grab your trusty screwdriver and drive it in. I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to do, to be honest, because it doesn't go into a hole. But what I suspect it might do is it might actually give us a little bit of lift on the suspension. So I don't know if it's done anything really so far. There is essentially a steel piece inside there that just runs across. You can see in there that it's blanked off. There aren't no holes in there. So I'm not exactly entirely sure where that's supposed to lead, but I shall screw them in and return in a moment. And welcome back. So I have now screwed these screws in, and as I suspected, it's done nothing whatsoever. It didn't get driven into anything. You can see it's just, I put a screw into this plastic for no reason. And same thing with the rear. Although I do feel that the little piece of metal that's underneath there is a little bit flexible, so it has given us a little bit of suspension, which is really, really cool actually. And of course, same thing in the front, so we can actually move a little bit. So I suspect that that's what this was really for. And let's just put something under the center wheels a little bit. And yeah, that's very cool. It's got quite a lot of individual articulation in the wheels, which is very, very cool. And it makes it a lot more authentic. These BMC models are actually really good quality for the price. These ones are going for roughly like anything between 18 and 23, 24 pounds. So if you can find one and you're looking for something pretty fun, then I can highly suggest one of these. But anyways, let's jump onto these fenders and see how we can possibly get them onto this car. So let's have a look at these components quickly. We have two different rear quarter panels, which this one is of course the right hand side, so you can see the fuel filler cap just over there behind those bars, I suppose. And then you can see the way that this needs to kind of lay in place over there. So obviously at the moment I haven't stuck it on, but it needs to kind of be flush with the body like that. And then it will be the same case on the front. So this is of course also different sides. So this one is on the right. And then this piece just kind of sits on there. And that will be joined on. And of course we do have this little thing, which this is some double-sided sticker panels. There are no instructions as to which panel gets which sticker or what locations they are put in, but essentially we got two large panels, so it makes sense to use maybe two big ones. And then we've got the two front panels, so I would suppose the small ones, but then of course we've got a snorkel too, so maybe we don't have enough sticky pieces, but I shall tackle it and attach the pieces and be back to you in a moment. Alright, so I have prepared the surfaces and I can just show you the back of these panels. They're pretty much just flat, so they should be pretty easy to join onto the side of the truck. However, these double-sided tape things are pretty much minuscule, and honestly I really think they could have given us a little bit more than what they did give us. The way I laid them out is I've just got a long one and a small one on this piece, because I thought just having one small one on the front fenders would be a little bit too small, so I've put the long one there. I don't know how well it's going to adhere to the car, but you can always just grab some more double-sided tape like I have over here, so if you need, then just feel free to put more, because I feel in areas such as this I wouldn't have minded putting an entirely long strip over there. So that's one little thing, but let me try with this and then I can tell you how grippy it is. So I've just put this front one on here, and as you can see it's pretty well stuck on. It's not really moving or anything like that, and it's really simple as well to put one on. You just remove this panel and then you just align it and put it on straight the way it should be. Although I do this off camera usually, because doing this with gloves is close to impossible. So as you can see, it's a little bit tricky, but I just wanted to show you one on camera as well. And actually, for being in gloves, I lined it up pretty well, I must say. So there you go, and that's that, and it's on there pretty well, so it's definitely not going to be falling off. Although they didn't give us enough sticker for the snorkel, and also I don't even know how that would work because it's kind of thick, so that we will definitely need some blue tack if I put it on. But let me carry on to the rear and I shall get back to you once again. I have now attached the rear fenders as well, the wide bodies, and to be honest, the manufacturing of these is actually really good quality. You can see what a small seam it has, and really this thing just fit on there absolutely perfectly and no movement whatsoever. Although on this side it did have a little bit of flashing, so where this part was manufactured and injection molded, it stuck out a little bit, so it actually was going off the body. It had a tiny bit of a gap between, so I just trimmed it off with a craft knife, and that was that. And then the very last maneuvers will be the snorkel over here, which I'm gonna have to use blue tack for because it's quite a 3D element in there, so you need something kind of thick to join it onto. And then of course the spare wheel, which you can use as just a wheel, but it's got nothing to join onto, so it should be in the bed over here, kind of against there like that. So I shall just use some blue tack, and let's have a look at the final car. And well, there you have it. So I have now installed the snorkel. I just used some blue tack in there. You can see it just a slightly bit, but that was the only way to join it on. And then for the rear, I actually used double-sided tape, just so you can't really see that there's anything there. And I must say, this is a very, very, very cool little car. Let's have a very quick look at a short before video, and then we jump to the after. And finally, this is the after. I can't believe how much fun I had building this car. It was really, really awesome. And I think this car looks absolutely amazing. It's just so cool in this matte black. It just looks very sinister with these like wide body fenders as well. It's got all the little bolts and nuts, and it looks very military style and industrial. And then of course these massive wheels with the red pinstriping, and even the white writing just looks very, very cool. And then we've got this nice front as well with the fog lights as well, the snorkel. It's just got so many details. Really cool openable tailgate. And look at that, look at this jump cut. A friend of mine just let me know about this, and this car actually has openable doors as well. So I mean, you can totally see the interior, and the intricacies of this car and the detail that's gone into it is just absolutely crazy, you know. So with that, you know, you can put it in a bunch of different types of dioramas into different sort of scenarios. There you go, we can have a dude like just chilling on the back there, and you can put it like in a forest sort of scenario, or like a, I don't know, war scene, or like a desert scenario, or anything like that. You could even put it in like some kind of a showroom with like some supercars. So there you go, we can like just put some nice off-road supercars in the background there, because this car is super expensive as well, of course, the 6x6. So I mean, it's extremely versatile model, and it's been a very, very fun build, and I hope you guys have had fun watching me build this car as well. And I hope you guys pick one up too, and yeah, give me a comment on what sort of cars you'd like to see next, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Take it easy. Ciao.